Our voices.
Our stories.
Our community.
Picturesque Victoria on Vancouver Island is home to the Pacific Training Center for the Blind. Anne Moffat is the oldest student at the center.
I'm 81 years old and I have macular degeneration. About 3 or 4 years ago, it started to become more and more of a problem. My eyes were getting really terribly strained so that I really couldn't read properly anymore. And I had this vision that if I could learn braille, I would be able to read again.
My name's Elizabeth Lalonde. I founded the Pacific Training Center for the Blind in 2011. I've been legally blind my whole life. I grew up as a blind child in the regular school system. I'd always known that there really isn't a lot of services available for blindness, what we call blindness skills training or blindness rehabilitation in Canada. So if you are blind or if you lose your sight, there's very little available in the sense of learning how to be a blind person and do things non-visually. Our program is called Blind People in Charge, and there's various reasons we called it that, and one of the biggest reasons is because all of our teachers, all of our administrators, all of our board are blind, and we run everything. We teach blind people to be in charge of their own lives. So the model that we use is one of problem solving, teaching people how to solve problems and not have to always ask for help, be able to get themselves out of challenging situations and find solutions for their own lives. There is an extremely high unemployment rate among blind Canadians. It's near 80%. Obviously, we know the truth that it doesn't have to be that way, that there are so many diverse and talented blind adults of working age who certainly can work. Becoming employed is such a turning point in someone's life. It increases one's income, it gives people power in their own lives, gets them out and about and meeting people. It's such an important goal for people. And so most of the skills, all of the skills really that we teach are, of course, in preparation for employment, because if you don't know how to get around, if you don't know how to use a computer, that doesn't make you very job ready. So of course those skills are all very important.
Good morning, everybody. Hope you had a good weekend.
Program coordinator Linda Bartram works directly with the students.
I will sit down with the student and say, from your assessment, this appears to be what you want to learn how to do. You're ready to do it. Students need to be ready. Just because they can't do something doesn't mean that that's what we should focus on.
Anne Moffat, she is such a spunky and incredible woman, and she was starting to lose her sight. She was very proactive, and which is actually somewhat unusual, unfortunately, wanted to learn, had heard about our program and wanted to learn these skills before she lost any more sight, because she knows she is going to lose a lot of her sight, if not all of it, at some point. She wanted to get ahead of that and learn the skills that we have to teach so that she wouldn't be so afraid of losing her sight, so that she knew that, wow, I still can do this. It does take some practice and some skill to do this, and mostly it's actually confidence. It's sort of we just getting out there and trying and learning.
So let's just cover a couple of safety features in the kitchen. First of all, when you're working around the stove or the oven, they see just by example from other students and from ourselves, how we've mastered those skills. And are independent in those areas, and that in itself can be incredibly motivating.
My name is Thomas John Evans, and I am a travel skills instructor with Pacific Training Center for the Blind. I teach people how to be independent in their travel, learning how to interpret the sounds and the feel from their cane. Well, this right here, this little long thing here, this white long thing, is actually our cane, and it's called the long cane. We kind of teach the open palm technique, which is kind of a half skim and half tap. right? We're still getting the sounds coming from the cane, but we're also getting that contact with the ground. It is a much underrated tool and asset that we use. The type of information that you get from it is so important.
We teach structured discovery. So a traditional way of teaching a blind person in traditional rehabilitation would be to have them memorize a route. So for example, you'd memorize how to get from home to school and back, and you wouldn't deviate from that route. You'd memorize it. And then if you wanted to learn, well, maybe you want to go to a friend's house after school and not always go home. Well, then you have to go back, figure that out, memorize that route. So we don't teach that way. We actually teach a blind person how to use cues in the environment, non-visual cues like the feel of the sun, textures on the ground, traffic patterns, various cues, to just problem solve as you go along and kind of explore. It's all about exploring.
Before sending the group outside, Linda discusses the day's lesson.
A lot of the streets in Victoria run north-south or east-west, and if you know that about them, then you have a sense of, for instance, what the audible signal is going to sound like at the intersection. So how about everybody get yourselves organized to go out for our walk, and we're going to head over to the library.
One of the things that Linda said when I came for my initial interview was that I would be required to use these blindfolds, blind shades they call them, to do all my classes, so that I'm totally blinded while I'm here.
Travel skills, which is traditionally known as orientation and mobility skills, or O&M, that's where a blind person learns how to navigate, orientate oneself in their environment. We learn how to get around using the long white cane, learn how to take public transportation. That is really an essential skill, because if you want to have a job, if you want to volunteer in your community, if you want to be a parent, and like I'm a parent, if I want to take my children to school and different things, you need to be able to get around. I think that's a really basic skill that everybody tends to take for granted.
After the break, students at the center practice cane travel.
Our community will return after the break.
We now return to our community.
81-year-old Ann Moffat and her fellow students at the Pacific Training Center for the Blind practice cane travel in a real-life situation.
What are you hearing right now, everybody?
Traffic, lots of traffic.
Okay, good. And where is the traffic going? Is it?
There's some going across the front of us. I think we're coming to the crossroads fairly soon.
Yeah, very good, Anne. Well, I'll get you to find the edge.
Okay.
And then get yourself lined up.
I can feel the edge, and I can feel the curb getting steeper. So that I know is on the side of the crosswalk, which is the safest.
Whenever it is that you're ready,
The tweet.
So.
Yeah. That's my signal now.
We're going to be the left.
This is a shorter crossing here. It's a smaller road than Blanchard.
I'll get you to
And there's less traffic. The traffic is all stopped on my right.
That way
I'm at the curb now.
Elizabeth Lalonde knows all too well the challenges facing blind Canadians.
I truly believe that blindness is probably one of the most stigmatized disabilities. It's probably also one of the most easily simulated disabilities, which can actually lead to its own problems, because people feel that if they close their eyes or if they're alone in a dark room, that they think that's what it's like to be blind. And of course, that can be quite a terrifying experience. People have to remember that when you go blind, it's usually not an instantaneous thing, or if it is, you don't learn how to be blind overnight. You know, it takes practice, it takes learning techniques, and we have new students that come in who have really never, not necessarily experienced blind people being able to do things and be capable and be in charge and be employed. That's a wonderful role modeling experience for them, and they feel, well, if my teacher can do it, then I guess I have no excuses. I can learn how to do this too.
19-year-old Anna Tolstaya is the youngest student at the center.
I was originally born in Moscow, Russia, and then we moved to Switzerland, where I attended a residential boarding school for the blind. And when I was about 8 years old, we moved to Canada, to Chilliwack.
Elizabeth Lalonde.
Anna Tolstoya is our first homestay student, and what that means is that the past few years we've served local people, blind adults in Victoria, but our ultimate goal is to be able to serve blind people all over the province and all over the country even, and have people actually come and stay and take the full program of training.
I came to the homestay program in late October, and Linda is my homestay host. So how the program was set up is that at Linda's place I would do life skills.
So this afternoon we're going to do a session on placing things in and out of the oven. So we'll start with a cold oven first of all, and then we'll turn it on and we'll practice putting a pan in and out of the oven.
I didn't feel independent. I was always relying on my parents or other family members for life skills, or if I wanted to go out for a walk or something, I always had to rely on my parents. So finally I was like, well, that's, enough is enough. I don't want to constantly live my life through other people. So I looked up online for schools for the blind in Canada, and that's how I found the Pacific Training Center for the Blind, and I reached out to them through email and contacted them.
I'll just switch the oven on here. There we go. I'm going to choose 350 degrees. When we're putting things in and out of the oven, obviously we need to protect our hands. I use silicone gloves. So you want to get yourself really centered onto the stove. So when you bend down and put the pan into the stove, it's going to be in the middle. You're not going to be bumping the sides. I open the oven door, step back a little bit, you have to. I'm not moving my feet. I'm reaching forward, picking up the pan in both hands, holding it level. Obviously, if it's got something liquid in it, you don't want to tip it over. Just bend your knees down, bend forward, and then you just reach forward into the oven, place it on the rack, and close the door. Okay, so we'll take turns on this. Okay. Perfect. Okay.
Okay, and so I'm putting it into the oven.
So Anna came to us just after she officially became an adult. She was 19, and she had lived in her family home for her whole life. And she, like a lot of our students that age, really didn't get a lot of opportunity in her house to learn a lot of these skills because of people not always realizing, what blind people can do and what blind children can do.
Anne, you want to go first? The tin is sitting on the top of the oven, so just walk forward to the stove and find where the tin is first, so that you're familiar with what shape it is and how big it is and how heavy it is.
Training for people to be independent in their own home is a big focus of our program. Teaching people how to cook, to be comfortable in the kitchen in a non-visual way. And a lot of it is just practice, really. And we have them do various projects, cook different meals, learn to go shopping, for example, and use customer service to help them find the things that they need, write a braille recipe, write a braille shopping list even.
As her vision deteriorates, it is essential that Ann Moffat learn the basics of braille.
Our community will return after the break.
We now return to our community.
81-year-old Ann Moffat has been diagnosed with macular degeneration. She's reached out to the Pacific Training Center for the Blind as she slowly loses her vision.
I've always been a person that works pretty hard. I get very enthused about things, and when I'm enthused, I find out everything I can about them.
My name is Erin Lasharity, and I am a Braille and Technology Specialist at the Pacific Training Center for the Blind.
Elizabeth Lalonde is a strong advocate for Braille skills.
Braille literacy is, I believe, so important. We were so honored to win a national award last fall, actually, from ABC Life Literacy Canada for our work with adult Braille literacy.
This is the Perkins Brailler, so I'm going to teach you the different letters of just the basics of Braille. So this is, you've got your hands on the things. So the first letter is A, so this is just one dot, A. Okay. I teach students the basics to reading Braille, grade 1 and grade 2 Braille. Why don't we start with maybe you just thinking about some of the items that you want to buy during your walk. E is the Perkins Brailler kind of looks similar to a typewriter. Braille is 6 dots, so with these 6 dots you can form different letters with each combination of dots.
There's so many amazing uses for Braille, so it's a foundational part of our program. Not everybody will learn to read Gone with the Wind with it, maybe, but they will learn to use it for real practical daily purposes like labeling spices in their kitchen, attaching labels to canned goods, labeling appliances.
Who knows what I'm going to come back with when I go on this shopping trip.
I don't know.
Having that little bit of vision that I knew I was losing and I had to make the most of while I had it has really put me in the driver's seat as far as coping as a blind person. So I think that the Pacific Training Center was willing to take me on at that stage and has really given me a huge boost.
Linda Bartram believes that small class sizes and individual attention are a key to the center's success.
We try and make sure that each day that it's a positive experience. We don't want somebody to be attempting to do something several times and not having a positive experience. So we'll break down those activities into little tiny steps which people can achieve almost on a daily basis. And I think that's how you keep people motivated. If they see progress, if they see success, even if it's just tiny success, then they're motivated to carry on and try a little bit, try a bit harder or try something a little bit more challenging.
I'm going to order a frozen pizza online.
Easy entertaining. Redemption. Frozen fruit. Frozen juices. Frozen meals. Frozen pizza. Frozen pizza. Pizza singles. Meat pizza. Meat pizza. Button. Delissio Pizzeria 3 meat pizza. Add to cart. Button. Add to cart.
Technology is really quite fabulous these days for everybody, I think. For blind people, it has come a long way.
Technology can assist in identifying groceries. Thomas John Evans shows Anna Tolstaya a new app.
It's called Seeing AI. Usually I end up putting it against the item, approximately in the middle, and I'll raise it 4 to 6 inches.
Date, brown, and pork, beans.
So a lot of the skills that we teach are actually integrated. The technology piece, the Braille piece, the life skills piece, the cooking piece. You need to learn a little bit of everything in order to become fully independent, so they all really combine together very well.
Ingredients. Chamomile, orange. Peel, natural.
I'm Sky Mundell. I work as the Assistive Technology Specialist at the Pacific Training Center for the Blind. So today, I thought what we'll talk about is how to navigate around the home screen on the iPhone with the built-in screen reader called VoiceOver. So just give me your hand. So the first gesture is flick right. Okay, now let's keep flicking right.
Weather.
Okay. I work with students on a variety of adaptive technologies. Also, from time to time, assess and recommend and help students get adaptive technology solutions.
I think there is something very powerful in seeing someone who you know is in the same situation as you doing something that you'd like to be able to do. It's not in theory, it's in practice. You see it being demonstrated every day.
Our mandate or vision statement is blind people empowering blind people to be employed, independent, and free. And I believe that that statement really summarizes really what we're about.
So Linda, I have the pizza here.
Smells good. Want to put it on the little table here?
Yes. This program has given me a lot of freedom to know that I can pursue my goals and lots of independence and just overall confidence. So it's really great.
Anna, I've seen that. I've seen you grow and blossom, and it's just been fabulous. It's been wonderful having you staying with me and to see this transformation. It's been great.
Thank you.
Ann Moffat will now try one of the most important challenges for the blind, independent cane travel.
Right, well, I'm on my way to Monk's to do some shopping. I have a short list here of things that I need. And when I get outside the door here, I'll be on Fort Street, and I'm going to turn west, go down the street to Blanchard Street, cross the main road there on the crossing lights, and then I'm going to cross again across Fort Street because the Monk's shop is right there on that corner. So I have a little mental map in my mind, and I know which way I need to go, and I know exactly where the shop is. Right, so I'm going to go out to the door now. I'm heading east now down Fort Street, and there seems to be a lot of people around me. The traffic is quite busy. Getting closer to the traffic lights now. There's a curb edge there, so I'm at the crossing now, and so I have to wait for the audible crossing. There's a tweet. There's a tweet now, so I can go now. Fort Street is a one-way street going east. And there's the Cuckoo, so I can cross now. So now I'm going to go into Monk's.
Things don't always go as planned, but with a bit of trial and error finding the doorway, Anne completes her journey.
The door here? The Pacific Training Center experience for me as a person losing vision has been wonderful. It's given me so much more confidence. It's taken away most of my anxiety about what the future holds. I feel now really confident that no matter how much vision I lose, I will be able to live independently. I'll be able to stay in my home with my husband, and we can live life more or less as we've always done.
Through individualized instruction on cane travel mobility, technology, braille, and life skills, the Pacific Training Center for the Blind is a leader in training blind Canadians to be employed, independent, and free, but above all, to be able to lead independent and fulfilling lives. Produced by Harbinger Films, Inc. Writer, producer, and director, Michael Maitland. Camera operator, April Butler. Editors, April Butler, Cal Jones, Miriam Bakhtiar. Sound editor, Cal Jones. Integrated Described Video Specialist, Emily Harding. Narrator, Jim Van Horn. Production Supervisor, Janice Civitelli. Director of Production, Cara Nye. Director Programming, Brian Perdue. Vice President Programming and Production, John Melville. President and CEO, David Arrington. Copyright 2018 Accessible Media, Inc.